enjoy the silence in the rain. When all my troubles wash away and bring me peace and still my pain, and have me live to another day. Enjoy the silence in the rain. Enjoy the silence in the rain. When all my troubles wash away and bring me peace and still my pain, and have me live to another day.
Welcome back, everybody, to DotaPit. We're here with yet another matchup. It's actually a fresh group, Blitz. We've been casting the previous group where it's come down to essentially back down to the wire where we've got Empire, Tornado Rocks, and Team Liquid all vying for that top place spot. But we're actually going to be dealing with a new group, fresh or pretty much fresh, as there's only been a couple of matches so far. The second group of the European division, which hosts teams like London Conspiracy, Na'Vi, Vega Squadron, Team Spirit, No Logic Gaming, as well as, of course, Mama's Boys, who have not been doing too well so far, Blitz. I don't know what your thoughts are on the team, but so far they are 0-4. They've lost twice against Vega Squadron and twice against London Conspiracy.
How are they How is Na'Vi doing so far?
Na'Vi has played up against Vega Squadron, and they won that one 2-0.
Okay, so Na'Vi's not doing terribly, and Vega Squadron's a pretty good team to take out too. Like I would say that's one of the heavy hitters in the group.
Yep.
So for them to take that out is pretty good. Who did Mama's Boy lose to? They lost to London Conspiracy and
Vega Squadron.
Okay, so that's...
Yeah, so already off to a bad start when Na'Vi is able to beat Vega Squadron and Mama's Boys are not. And then we haven't even seen Team Spirit play, who obviously are probably another one of the heavy hitters of the group just because of how well they did at the qualifier. We'll see whether or not that was a fluke, but...
Wait, is this the new lineup for Mama's Boy? Who's their swap, essentially? It was... when they lost EGM, who were they using during the qualifier?
Soxa, Yapzor, Sexy Bambo.
Who's missing? Oh, Bambo's missing.
Not playing. Yeah.
Bambo's missing. I see.
Is Bambo not playing with them anymore?
I think he probably is. I don't see a reason why he'd be missing, though.
Yeah, they've got Masakari here now.
Yeah. Oh, Bambo... I guess Bambo's not playing with them. That's
what
weird.
happened, Blitz? You should have all the inside deets.
I mean, I could literally message him right now, but we're in the middle of a cast.
Just be like, what happened? Give me some drama.
That is weird, though.
Like they played when they played Vega Squadron, which was just like a week ago for DotaPit. Bambo was playing.
Yeah, it's weird.
And then they played We Play, and Bambo was still playing.
Yeah, he says he's not on the team anymore.
Well then, all right, that happened. Change roster. Let's see if Mama's Boys can do a bit better then.
Masakari was playing with BBC the last time that I knew of him. I know he was also on a team that made a pretty deep run in the TI5 Open qualifiers, if I remember correctly, which I'm pretty sure I do, because for some reason I know all these random European players, and he's a pretty stable player. I know he used to be teammates with the Yapzor. When we met them at MLG Columbus, that was kind of the connection that I have between those two. So all three of the bottom players have played with each other, Hook, Yapzor, and Masakari, from my understanding. Pycat is obviously a pretty well-known name in the Dota scene. Soxa is up-and-coming talent. I think he's got pretty bad internet, but people speak pretty glowingly of him. Just to kind of give people perspective of who's who on the team. Yapzor especially, a lot of people say pretty glowing things about in terms of his individual skill and attitude. So
yeah, attitude especially seems to be one of Yapzor's biggest strengths. Soxa is from Macedonia.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So just. And also Na'Vi, obviously they're using General as a stand-in. Pretty standout pub player. It's nice to see just like the scene get injected with all this new blood.
Yeah.
I think it's good overall for the long-term success of Dota.
Yeah, and essentially, even though the majors are going on, this is all kind of like shuffling periods of time to try and get your final roster for TI. So we'll kind of be able to see which of the new blood is able to make it to that point and which of them are going to be washed out. But Mama's Boys, they've got a hefty lineup so far. Earth Spirit and Invoker on the same team with the Disruptor, now Spirit Breaker, to try and match the Wisp pickup. But Na'Vi did get their hands on the Death Prophet. I know a hero that you absolutely love, Blitz, as well as the Batrider.
Death Prophet just 1-to-1. I know it's not about that, but as a mid laner, it just makes you a lot more confident when you have strong matchups. It makes the game a lot more comfortable for you to play to begin with. And Death Prophet kind of does it all. It's a physical damage dealer with their ultimate, so it scales decently late game. The silence on it, the AoE, and the range, the cast range is pretty huge. There's just a lot of reasons to pick this hero, not even counting Spirit Siphon and the nuke.
And between things like Octarine Core as well as Spirit Siphon being added in, I feel like there's not as much detriment to picking up a Death Prophet because teams would try and play around your lengthy cooldown of an ultimate. But now you can actually fight a lot more often with Octarine Core, but also, even if you're down, Spirit Siphon is strong enough that it actually makes you a pretty decent impacting force in team fights without Exorcism.
Yeah. And Death Prophet's just naturally good against Invoker because you have the silence, and you have your own Yule setup.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess the downside of DP is, in a lot of ways, I prefer her in the early game. Before I would just prefer like mid-late game with their ulti timings.
Mm-hmm.
But now I just with Spirit Siphon, because you can rotate so often, I feel like this is where you can abuse the hero the most. So Mama's Boy, in response to the Wisp though, they pick up the Spirit Breaker and the Disruptor, like you said. Disruptor's kind of been going down on my list. Before I used to really like him. I thought he was an underrated pickup against the Wisp just because you could glimpse. But oftentimes if you pair it with, say, a Tiny, you just get blown up anyways before anything can happen. And you never want to start the fight 4v5 to begin with. If anything, I've been liking heroes like Witch Doctor, AA, Clinks. Clinks is always a good hero.
How do you judge him as a counter to Batrider? Because I feel like the glimpse is too slow, right? If Batrider jumps in, grabs somebody, force staffs, by the time the glimpse actually forces the Batrider back and breaks that lasso, he's already done 90% of what he aimed to do.
Yeah, I'd agree. If anything, it's the core that matters the most, and I'm kind of a fan of this pickup for the Wisp. Like I was just talking about the Clinks, right? Weaver kind of fits a similar principle. It's a hero that has a lot of physical damage if you get some farm, and he should because he's almost definitely going to be the safe laner this game. And it just like coupled with the bugs and the fact that you can just get on top of the Wisp very easily, it's a little bit hard to protect. But at the same time, Na'Vi, they've got really good things about it against it. For example, the Death Prophet Spirit Siphon chases during Invis timers, so you could just pop out a silence half a second later because you have such high move speed and mobility to begin with, coupled with the fact that if you have the IO with you, then you just kind of lead the Batrider to where you need to go. I think that has to definitely be nerfed, that you can see people that are invis as they move around. Like, that's such a good straight one-to-one counter that I can think of for a hero like Weaver.
And the last pickup is going to be the Spectre, a hero that has been pretty highly prioritized, especially in the pub scene. But I think you've got some pretty good setups. The Wisp just seems to be a Wisp that can pair up with anybody. They didn't try and get anything real specific. It works real well with Death Prophet, increasing her survivability in team fights, and you may see her paired up with the Spectre and allowing him to be able to just keep up that movement speed and attack speed on heroes.
I think the Spectre, for me, it's not a hero that you can just pick in every situation, but it is really strong just because you're comfortable with almost every phase of the game right now. I feel like this is a solid, well-rounded carry. For people that play like 6K plus pubs, you've been running into this hero non-stop, and you can see the potential of it. And a lot of teams are trying to apply that now to the competitive side of things. It fits the bill for a lot of things. The only thing that I'm kind of not a fan of is the ability for it to just straight defend these 10, 15, 20-minute pushes where it gets aggressive. Your team does need to have a fairly successful mid-game. But at the same time, this is one of the best heroes to fall back on for the ultra late game. I kind of like Navi's lineup all around.
Sorry.
Why'd you say oh no?
I had the overlay up. Apologies for the 10 seconds of
you suck.
awfulness. I know. Hey, real quickly, whenever you come across General in pubs, he's usually playing mid, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't think I've ever seen him on any other role.
Oh, glimpse back. Did she raw?
This
is he
is
going to be
really
caught
bad.
here? The dagger? No, the charge actually stops him. He's not going to be able to make it out. That's going to be First Blood. Saksa is going to be the one to pick that one up, and they'll take control of the bottom bounty rune as well. In fact, they may even have the opportunity to try and take control and then push up through top. And they might be able to challenge the top rune as well as secure bottom. But we'll see what happens as Mama Boys trying to get an early start in this game after a pretty rough record so far in DotaPit.
Yeah. What's interesting is that whenever I see General, I usually see him play the core role, and more of the core role and less of the playmaker. And I know Dendi as more of the playmaker and less of the core, but they've kind of swapped things around here.
Yeah, I was watching. General ended up in a pub like a couple days ago. It looks like he was just spamming off lane, obviously.
The guy's got dedication. I see him in like every single game.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, I wasn't super impressed with his offlane so far, so I'm wondering if there's going to be kind of a transition period.
It definitely. I feel like of
from
all the
mid to
lanes,
offlane. Yeah.
it's always going to be offlane that's the hardest to adjust to. Like I remember when EGM had to originally switch, it was like it just was not going well.
Yeah.
At top, he has the boots. He could always go for the stack, but no, Mama's Boy, they actually pre-sentry'd it, which is really smart of them. That's such a good camp for the Batrider to have.
Yeah. I think it's pretty clear you just never let the Batrider have that camp. And meanwhile, bottom lane, Masakari is doing all right as well. He seems to be getting his experience, and he, of course, has a lot more rotational power early on into this game than compared to the Batrider, which may be needed, as Hook's Invoker is currently dealing with a Death Prophet and Wisp. Seneko lending a helping hand in this middle lane.
He's doing okay, though, in CS. And whenever the Spirit Siphon is on cooldown, as it was for the last 10 seconds, the Invoker can kind of just play the right-click game. But this is where he has to really be careful, just because the Spirit Siphon, it's up. You're going to get nuked down. One more hit should do it. He's going to go down.
Nice. Quick, clean kill. Meanwhile, at the bottom lane, I was hoping to watch Masakari get a little lucky there in the Witch Doctor, but no 17%. So he just ended up taking a lot of damage. Top lane, General, going to be pushed back by Pycat, who knows he can stand his ground at least for a little bit. Doesn't want to stay in the fire too long. He's going to try and get the damage from Chikuchi, but he's not going to be able to finish up some right clicks. A glimpse him back. Oh, Seneko coming in with a quick save, and that means Soxas, he's in serious trouble. He's going to be right-clicked down by Batrider. One more hit. General's going to go down in return, and Pycat's going to look for two here. The bowling, it hits two, slowing down Seneko. Will be able to get the double kill for Pycat. What happened to be a save there from Seneko turned to be actually all right, with General picking up the double kill in return, but it was the experience that they desperately needed.
Yeah, that was a really good rotation by Seneko. And there's no way that monkey, or not monkey, that Mama's Boys could have anticipated it.
Trying to pull up an old name there, Monkey's Business.
Okay, is General just going to come back here and die?
Almost.
He's getting really low.
Yeah, unfortunately, Glimpse isn't up just yet. A very lengthy cooldown at level 1, so no opportunity for the Disruptor. Meanwhile, Yapsor picks up an Invis rune here. Let's see what he does. Is he going to kick Dendi back and then try and roll into him, or does he just go for the stun and slow?
Doesn't he kick him forward?
I think so.
Into
Yeah, I
Cold
think it's
Snap?
better to do that. Yeah, kick him, Cold Snap, Force Spirits. Yeah, that sounds
If he
like
could have
a
done
play.
it a few seconds earlier, that would have been better.
Yeah.
Because Dendi is now received his boots, right? Okay, he's just gonna drop the ward and run.
Yeah.
I think they doubt their ability to get the kill. Honestly, he's got 2 charges of Spirit Siphon.
Yeah.
He's got the mana for it too. I don't think this is really quite doable.
That does sound nasty. And they seem to really want to be able to get some mid-vision up for Hook. Earlier, of course, they tried to place this ward in the beginning of the game that got countered out, so now they throw down a second mid-ward, this time on the left-hand side.
I don't think you can afford to go for that when you don't know where the Wisp is. 100% anyways.
Yeah. Between Spirit Siphon and bottling.
If you look at the timing, if they were stacking for him or anything like that, when he went it was 3:05. So there's a good chance that the Wisp would have just finished stacking and then come mid.
Mm-hmm.
And you've definitely got to be careful about that.
Rotation up to top lane, hoping to be able to catch the Batrider somewhere, but he's right now doing the jungle. Wisp was stacking up a little bit for him, so they're not going to have the opportunity to catch him. They're hoping with the lane pushed in, oh, there will be a TP, or not. There goes Seneko at the last second, probably realizing this is going to be a trap. Pretty classic push through. When you push the tower, your supports rotate around, and Seneko judged it pretty well.
I think he knows when they didn't pull it to the side camp. that there's no way that you're just gonna decide, okay, we're gonna give up free XP to the offlaner.
Yeah.
Plus the siege wagon is coming in. It's sort of just a perfect storm of a situation where you know as the offlaner or a support that you can't really afford to do that. What you should do is TP to the tier 2 and then try to draw aggro to the creep wave
Right.
when they try to push next and then soak XP. But just going for the straight TP there definitely would have killed him.
Which, exactly what General's going to do now. Went to tier 2. And he's actually going to be dove here. Yapzor waiting out his
Pykat's
time to
getting
get the
really
kill.
low.
Pykat, Shukuchi not going to be up in time. General is still slowed down, but Yapzor's going to take too much damage here. They glimpse him back to make sure that General can't get the double kill. But Mama's Boys still going to be chased down a little bit. General realizing that he maybe overextended himself a bit. Still has 10 magic wand charges to fall back on, though.
It doesn't even matter if he dies at this point. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure he just gets the kill.
Oh,
He's
they
getting
wanna be
charged
able
right
to
now.
catch him. Masakari's coming in, but they cancel it with double TPs. General is going to try and chase down Yapzor. Yapzor is not looking real healthy, and he doesn't have a rolling boulder to get out of here just yet. General just only needs a couple of right clicks. In fact, Sasa, he's going to go down as well inside the river. Navi's full-out rotations make it work. General's on a killing spree, and Navi are up 7-3.
It was a bit odd by Mama's Boy. They definitely didn't respect the Batrider right there. Like, the Weaver doesn't have the best turn rate to begin with, and it was hard for him to angle around and get out.
Pycat knows these supports are so low, but it's not going to be quite enough. Too much heals. They bump back General to prevent the lasso from taking Pycat too far, but they've got to get out. Now they're going to be coming in from behind. Dendy is here. He's going to be able to slow down. Masakari charges up in another second. Can he get away? He's not trying to charge out and will not be able to make it as such. 8-3 now. Na'Vi just continuing to beat down on Mama's Boys over aggression.
This has been so rough for them. Their safe lane, you can't really allow it to go like this just because you know that the Spectre on the flip side of things is going to abuse this space. And he hasn't even had to use his ultimate quite yet. When you're playing against a Spectre, it's really important that your supports are beefy enough to survive his initial rotations. And the way that it's going right now, it's not going to really be possible when you've got a level 4 Disruptor and a level 3 Earth Spirit. Like, the Spectre ultimate alone plus 1 or 2 spells is enough to burst them down. And that's the roughest situation to be in as a support. Like, this hero already kind of sucks to play against because of how tanky he is. And then couple with that with the fact that you just don't have levels to deal with him either.
It's not looking great for Mama's Boys.
Oh, if Saksa gets caught in the river here.
And yeah, he's definitely going to get caught. That's going to be a free kill. Dichira will be the one to pick it up too. So this will just speed along those drums. Not going for the earn build here because I'm presuming someone else. Yeah, Seneco's going to get it. You're right.
It's the natural wisp item.
Yeah.
This is like one of the few situations where you concede it because it is so good on the Spectre, but it's even better on the wisp. Going for drums though is fine right now. Like we talked about, the supports are so underleveled that a drums Yasha Spectre would pretty much mop up everybody.
Do you think that do you consider when you're this far ahead just completing the drums and trying to go Radiance at all in a game like this, or do you still prefer going the stat build Manta Diffusal?
I still think Manta Diffusal is the way to go.
Okay.
It kind of depends on how good your laning phase has gone, because I do think that Radiance would just mess up Earth Spirit Invoker and Disruptor, because there's no natural mech carrier there either, right? I guess you could get it on your Earth Spirit, but with the way that this game is gone, there's almost no way for him to really afford it. I think he's just a little bit too poor right now to get away with it. I think it's more likely right now that if you're Mama's Boy, maybe you even hope that he goes Radiance so that the Spectre doesn't just beast on your team early game.
But that seems unlikely with his build already.
I still think it's an alright option in some cases. Like, I still favor going it against incredibly squishy mid laners, just so you can drag things out for as long as possible, if you know that their high ground potential isn't great. Pycat, interestingly enough, is still outlast hitting the Spectre, who I guess had to contend with a Spirit Breaker being in his face, because he only had one support. And I don't think the Witch Doctor early game is quite strong enough there. Like, you need a few levels.
Did they do neutrals at all on the Dire side?
Not that I remember, because I know both supports were so heavily invested in top.
Yeah. Because it does seem, with the amount of fighting that's going on at top lane, even with the Spirit Breaker in his face, it feels like Pycat shouldn't be ahead because he's died once. There's been a lot of fighting going on, chasing heroes, etc.
It is why I brought it up.
What do you think about maxed out Swarm next for Weaver?
I think it's okay. I think the Geminate attack, though,
Is better?
yeah.
Okay. Because we've seen some Weavers experimenting with Swarm, maxed out a little bit earlier, especially as it's gotten buffed up. Maybe not the last 2 patches, but in the last 4 or 5 patches, I think it's seen a buff or 2.
I think in a lot of ways, there's good reason to go for Swarm if you anticipate just fighting nonstop.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're going to pick up a Linken's, you already know that this game is going to... You're hoping that it extends out further. And that's always been the downside of a hero like Weaver versus a hero like Klinks, right? Is that Klinks only really needs 2 or 3 items to get going. Even then, you really just need Tread, Soul Ring. You eat a creep, then you can dominate the supports. Just get a single level Stray, 4-shot the Wisp. Whereas, on the flip side of things, with a Weaver, you need to grab the Linken's, you need to grab a DPS item. Eventually, you're going to need to grab an additional defensive item.
How do you contend with that, by the way, as a Wisp? Because if you're going the Diffusal Blade build, a Ghost Scepter isn't a strong idea, just because he's going to get purged
Wait,
out.
with who?
The Wisp.
Against...
if you're dealing with heroes like... sorry, I got a little mixed up, but I'm actually just thinking in general terms right now. The Wisp... Like,
I mean, almost nobody rushes...
Yeah, I know.
I don't... Because I don't think a Weaver, even then, would rush a Diffusal... If you saw the Wisp for that.
I was thinking Spectre, but
Wait, what?
I don't know. I got a little messed up. I was having fun with the camera controls, Blitz. You know.
Are you all right?
I'm okay.
Yeah, I just feel like I lost you for a second. I was like, what are you talking about? Who's going to get Diffusal first?
I was thinking Spectre and Wisp were on opposite teams for some reason. I don't know why. Just, you know. This pause has gone so long that I forget who's who.
No, try as they might. Navi's all playing together.
Look at Spectre.
Dude, there's like interesting things that we could be talking about, like theory crafting, and you're just...
I mean, I can't help it that Spectre is face down in the mud.
Ah, damn it, Austin.
This is what Reddit was complaining about.
You are the 90%. Not me, though. I'm trying to keep things on track.
All right.
I'm giving
so
you...
what's next, Blitz?
I'm giving you reasonings for Weaver versus Klinks. Trying to tell you all the scenarios. What's next or what?
In your analysis. I mean, I'm just a big dung play-by-play caster here. I'm only waiting for the action to start.
You are a goon. I mean, in terms of this game specifically, I'm not really too sure. I think you just let your Invoker get some measure of farm, and then you can try to take things over in the mid game, like we've seen Invokers do in the past. But you minimum have to sort of wait for your supports to pick up level 6.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's when the real fun starts, is when Disruptor can get 6 and go on a Spectre that is invincible.
All right, let's talk about Invoker builds, actually, because this is something that I know you're not a big Invoker player. I do not play Invoker at all.
Don't worry, man. I see it in, like, every single pub game. What
you-
would you like to know?
You see it at high level constantly, so I figure you still have the analysis. The different builds for Invoker at professional play. Because it's the latest trend is going this Hanabitis Aghanims build. But I feel like there are some serious downsides to it.
I think you should... the Hanabitis, I think, is incredibly strong.
Mm-hmm.
Just because
Sure.
you can't really prevent this hero from farming, and allowing him to jungle just with Sword Spirits and staying off the map, you can scale pretty quickly. My favorite build, personally, is going for the Hanabitis into the Yules, just so you can execute the pleb combo.
Mm-hmm.
You just, like, shoot them up in the air, blow them up. They literally can't do anything. Good stuff.
2 patches ago, it was Lena, now it's Invoker.
There's always got to be a hero that has that, right?
Uh-huh.
I can't really complain about Invokers doing that, because I was doing it with Lena
Yeah.
all last patch. But from there, I guess Ags is the way to go. I've seen some variations where people put out Necro 3, but I'm not as big of a fan of that.
But what are the times that you go for these different builds? For example, when do you go Quaswex?
Quaswex. If
Yeah.
you're against like Wraith King, if Slardar, heroes like that, it's pretty good against. I think a lot of ways though, the Exort build is just as weird as it sounds. It doesn't pigeonhole you as hard.
Okay.
I think going for the Tornado EMP combo is a little bit dicey. You're gonna get the levels anyways to pick it up later on in the game, but having things like the Sunstrike allows you to have global presence, and it allows you to play that sit back and farm style. And I think it just synergizes a little bit better, and the DPS potential is higher.
I think the biggest thing about the Exort build is the fact that you have Forge Spirits. That really feels like the extra boost of versatility. Roshan is available to you. You can push really easily. And then you've got this obviously great amount of damage coming out between.
And it lets you jungle.
Yeah.
You're just so you're so
It's just
versatile.
like, yeah, you could do whatever.
Yeah.
5 heroes mid, go Roshan solo, you know?
It's all good. Invoker's just Bob the Builder. He can do it. Alright, so Yapstar's going to come back in. I know Yapstar has the worst internet ever, too. He lives in Jordan. He just always complains about how bad his ping is.
Do you think Earth Spirit's in a fair and balanced place?
No.
No.
I think that hero's still pretty unbelievable. My issue with it is everything.
Oh, thanks for locking that down for us, Blitz.
Mm.
Just the heroes that, it's in Dota 2. That's my issue.
The problem, to be real with you, I still think that the hero's just a little bit too versatile. Like
Yeah.
I still think it accomplishes a little bit more than it should. But that's just my opinion on things. It does have a pretty high skill ceiling, like to play correctly.
I feel like the slow should scale. That would be like the one thing that I would change for Rolling Boulder. I feel like that the level 1 roaming potential is so incredibly strong when you're able to throw out an 80% movement speed slow as well as early Orb of Venom pickup.
Yeah. As much as I hate it, the ultimate is just so funny. Like when you have Ags or when you can turn people into
Yeah.
stone. The other day I found out that it does. Remember when you found out it did 300 shadow
when
damage?
it does damage too.
I didn't even know that. I had like 200 HP guys as a Tide Hunter, and I get turned into a stone. I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah, he literally doesn't do anything to Blitz, by the way. He just turns them into stone
And then I
walks
just
away. And then the time runs out, the stone crumbles apart, and Blitz is no longer there.
It's just, that really added to me as a caster because I learned about that.
Uh-huh.
I was like, there's an added factor for this that I just never considered.
Like, wait, I can pull people and kick them back into the fountain, and it does 300 damage?
Yeah, it's pretty.
All right.
It's incredible. Let's make no mistake about it. I kind of wish I knew how to play the hero more because I do think it is fairly dynamic, and I'll never fault heroes like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think dynamic heroes like that are always somewhat interesting. I think you just tweak it a little bit. Which is why I kind of am sad that Invoker's going to get patched into nothingness once it's been around for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Because this hero, before it became into this, I felt like it was one of the most complex heroes when it came to being able to play him correctly. Do you remember there was a time period of Dota where Dendi was just like the best Invoker?
Yeah.
I used to play against him, and I was so afraid. The Dendi Invoker. And then everybody just got so good at Dota. One day, everybody just became insane.
Everybody became a young Dendi.
Yeah. You just got guys like Miracle and Sumail popping out of everywhere and just becoming good.
Miracle's play lately.
Oh, yeah.
That guy is
I
insane.
think he could make a really good case for being the best player in the world. Even though it's hard to just quantify that, but...
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're going to unpause, get back into the game.
All right.
All right. Oh, art style with the manor.
Yeah.
They're going to use their own pause time to double check that Mama's boy is ready to go.
All right. Yapsor says he's good.
That is insane.
And away we go.
That
Good
insta
job,
pause.
Yapsor. Oh,
Yeah.
Massacre is coming in. Dendi does have some help, though, from Seneko, so it's not even going to be close.
Yeah, they weren't going to kill it anyways.
No.
He has Spirit Siphon up and Fairy Fire plus a Wisp. It's very unlikely.
It's like Spirit Breaker comes in and he just gives the Death Prophet this big, juicy target in which to suck off.
Right, he's going to push in He's going to go for this top rune.
Oh, they're going to try and collide here. Even with Seneko, they might be able to kill something.
Oh, is that the...
The boulder! It just barely clips Dendy. They're still going to charge in for Seneko, but here comes the rebound. Sunstrike does land on Seneko, but he's still alive, and he's helping out Dendy, who's going to be able to get off the exorcism. Seneko almost going down, but somehow he's still alive, and disaster for Mama's Boys, who collide in the middle lane and are getting met with the unstoppable force of Na'Vi.
I think in some ways they just thought, okay, we have to go for this fight, but it almost felt like they forgot about the Spectre ultimate.
Yeah.
And then Seneko just comes in and destroys them, and destroys that attempt. Pycat maybe could have gone for the Wisp kill, but he almost certainly would have been traded out shortly after. He was pretty low on mana. Didn't really want to have to contest for that.
Yeah, not really worth it for, at the time, a level 4 Wisp.
Yeah. Oh, things are not looking too pretty for Mama's Boy. There's no real way around it, but... Again, they still have a lot to play for just because their supports haven't hit 6. Hook in some trouble here as he's just going to get chased down.
He's just going to be run down here. The last right click is not going to be enough. A boulder was coming in. Seneko has been isolated. He does have a tether up, but unfortunately won't be able to get away from the Mad Cow.
That's the start that they needed.
Yeah, a small kill. Dendy's still going to be able to stick around, it looks like, though, off of his bottle, and will be continuing that Yule Scepter build.
General has his blink now. He should look for a smoke gank on... Doesn't really matter right now who he goes for. I'd sort of like him to... Obviously, the natural target is to go for the mid laner.
Yep.
In Hook. It's probably going to be successful just because I doubt that Mama's Boy wants to contest once somebody gets initiated on, just because the threat of the Spectre Haunt is strong. And you're still waiting for the level 6 on the Disruptor. Yeah. This is a really weird situation where Saksa has to balance sitting behind people so he can get the glimpse off to stop the bat initiation, but...
Okay, it's most definitely dead, though.
Yeah. It's just really good timing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Saksa's trying to get a 6. He's not going to be sitting behind Hook.
A return kill coming out on Art Style. Obviously not worth the trade, but as we were talking about before, Mama's Boys just need something small to work with.
How close are they? They've almost got 6 on Saksa. The App Store's almost got it too. And this is when they can start getting into these larger scale engagements. When they do have the...
oh, Jesus.
The Magnetize.
I didn't realize Yapsor was still level 4.
It's been brutal. Every single time that he's made a rotation, it hasn't really gone the way of Mama's Boy. There was that one rotation at top where it looked really successful, and then he got traded out immediately by the tower.
They're now complete for the Wisp. Did threaten the tower a bit, brought it down to 400 HP, but Na'Vi as a whole are not going to try and push things too hard. They have a Spectre after all. Late game is not completely secured, but they should have a serious peaking point at about 30 minutes. Iron Talon Spectre. I mean, it's just such an efficient item, I can't really say no to it, I guess.
He's got a good amount of farm too, and he doesn't necessarily want to chill in lane.
Yeah.
He's trying to give it up to his supports, but with the Witch Doctor just going down like that, I mean, Art Style's level 6, so it shouldn't matter anymore anyways. This is a very late Midas though for Hook. You can kind of understand just because of the type of lane that he had though.
Yeah, versus Death Prophet. Not just a Death Prophet, but a Wisp as well. And it's definitely not a lane you're going to be winning. Pycat looks to be still going for the... Why Lincoln's here? I guess Lasso.
Yule setup.
Yeah, that obviously... I was just thinking that silence is still going to be an unfortunate factor that Pycat has to deal with, but obviously the Lasso is more important.
Yeah, there isn't a whole lot to cancel it either. His Lincolns, that isn't good.
Yeah.
Like the worst thing is the dagger. You're going to be incredibly happy with that.
Oh, Hook, he's going to be pulled back here. The stone is not going to hit, and Hook is going to be taken apart here. Art Style just giving that extra oomph with the Death Ward. They're going to try and go on Seneko, but an Ice Cask actually stops the ultimate, and Masakari is going to be forced back He's going to throw his ultimate now onto General, trying to punch him back as quick as possible. They will be able to lock him down, but Dendy is on the front lines with that invis. Starts going for Yapzor, is going to be able to force him back. Masakari charges on through, will be able to finish off General at the very least. Masakari trying to get away, is silenced up, doesn't have a charge up for another 4 seconds, and Dichira is the one to finish him off. Meanwhile, Seneko actually gets the kill on Pycat. 3 down from Mama's Boys, all in exchange for the Bat Rider.
Oh, they're going to go for the back line.
Still looking for more as they relocate in, trying to find one of those supports, but Zaksa as well as Yapzor look to be getting away, or maybe not. Dendy doesn't have those phase boots up. Thought he was going to make the long jump in because honestly, he could dive tier 2s and not really have to be afraid of much at this point.
Yeah. I don't think they expended the Han for that, right?
No.
I think they did it like 30 seconds before.
Yeah. They did it in an earlier engagement.
It was still... The weird thing is, that wasn't even an ideal engagement for Na'Vi. They didn't have to pop any of their major ultimates. And they were still able to cleanly take that fight just because they were able to initiate on the Invoker early. And then Mama's Boy was essentially playing for 4v5 at that point. It's kind of lucky that they didn't lose either of the supports either, but losing the Weaver again. Again, we talked about how this hero needs time and space. You need a certain number of items just before you're really in fighting shape, and Pycat's stuck in such a weird quandary where he has to come to these fights, because without him, his team just can't win him. But if he doesn't come to the fights, his team loses it, but at the same time, he needs to gain some measure of safe farm, and he just hasn't been able to do so.
Art Style is going to be locked down, hoping for the quick pickoff. Dichira is actually going to show up, and Saksa is going to be traded away. Masakari challenges him, but Hook doesn't really want to take that fight. He knows there's more coming, and sure enough, Dendy's here with the Yule Scepter. Stalling up, Masakari will be able to get the silence on him, preventing him from charging away. Dichira takes a bit of damage, but Seneko quickly undoes it all. With some heals, and that's it. General. He's still looking for something actually here. Looking for the mid lane. Runs across Pycat, sees Hook, is going to be able to grab him, relocate in as well. The boulder doesn't hit, and they're just going to quickly tear apart Hook as fast as possible. And Pycat is going to be forced to retreat once again. Pycat just never has the opportunity to stand and fight, as Na'Vi had too good of a laning phase.
Yeah, I think Pycat just has to go for the farming route right now. The dangerous thing, though, in this game is that he sort of knows that late game he's beat. And the silence from Dendy is still incredibly strong. He's not going to even bother popping it because nobody's quite there.
Yeah, and the chances of him hitting silence before Pycat clicks Shukuchi.
Yeah.
It's just literally W.
Okay, they really need this to work.
Yeah, they don't have the ultimate out from Masakari, but a nice double stun silence is a start. Unfortunately, General's here as well. Pycat is going to be forced to use his ultimate. The casket is going to be bouncing around. Yapzor trying to roll his way out. Will be able to get away. The burn is still enough. Hook is being chased down as well by the Death Prophet. They've got him controlled. He's not going anywhere, and they clean him up with the AoE. General is going to be targeted from Pycat, but he can't stick around for long. Na'Vi just fully committing to this 5-man time and time again, knowing that Mama's Boys, with the bad kind of laning phase start that they had, will not be able to recover without some sort of scrappy engagement.
Yeah, and you still don't have the level 6 on the Earth Spirit, but I'm starting to think that it won't matter as much as I did at one point. Pycat's going to get gone on.
Yeah,
he's going to get gripped too.
He had to do something like really ballsy, and obviously didn't really pay out for him. Disruptor's going to be caught as well. They do have the charge coming in. They get a mild amount of damage here on some of the heroes, but the boulder kick. Masakari is going to cancel his charge, though.
It just feels like they're not putting a significant enough dent, though, in Na'Vi right now.
Yeah.
They're just getting healed up time and time again.
I mean, they still don't even have the ultimate out from the Earth Spirit. These are oftentimes ideal scenarios. A lot of people are grouped up. You know, if he could get a good magnetize, that could actually push them over the edge where they do get some of these support kills or something like that.
I think that time has kind of run out now, though.
Yeah.
The Witch Doctor is level 8. He's got 3 levels of the heal. He's got enough HP to sustain himself. The Wisp has a cloak on top of Urn and a wand, which for Wisp is quite farmed. And Dendy just has enough HP to live through the burst. All the cores do, in fact. General's already got the Force Staff picked up at 17 minutes. Doesn't quite have the last
charge.
yet.
General's going to try and grab him. They do have the glimpse back, but still Dendy's going to keep on moving forward. Quick double kill. And I almost feel like if this turns out to be a triple. Oh, he couldn't get Seneko. Pycat actually pops his ultimate and will charge the other direction. General won't be able to keep up with him. But this is kind of looking like Mama's Boys, the way they're playing this, so desperately aggressive. It seems like they're almost on the verge of calling GG.
Yeah, I think at this point, especially if Pycat goes down there, General knows.
Yeah, he's keeping track of this guy. I'm not quite sure how. He's got no counter vision, but he just seems to know every move that Pycat's making. He bounced him back a little bit further. He's keeping up all this sticky napalm, expecting Pycat to try and juke him, but he's just going to keep on running forward. And General will finally lose track of the Weaver.
Yeah, fairly unlikely that he gets the kill anyways. Nobody on his team is there, and the Wisp relocate is down. But he's just messing with them, sending him back a little bit. And the charge is going to come in mid on Artstyle. They know that he's alone, but he gets the cask off.
Oh, no. That's too much for them. The TP's already in. Seneko is going to run into one. Pycat is caught by the lasso, and he doesn't have his ultimate yet either, but will be able to get out of range of the tower. Silence goes down. Artstyle is going to be target of a Sunstrike. Is it enough? With the bugs? Maybe, but too much heal. Matsukari is actually going to go in, but a force staff from General cancels the charge. They still have the ultimate, but it's still not enough. Artstyle is getting massively healed up by himself, as well as Seneko. Now a Magnetize goes in, but the sustain is just too much for them to handle. They're going to keep on going. They finally get something. General goes down, but they're deep inside of Navi's base underneath the tier 2 tower, and there's chance for Navi to be able to respond still. Charge on through. Matsukari pushes back a couple of heroes. Finally the dagger comes out, finishing off one. Saksa, he'll be caught as well as the casket stops his TP, and a 2-for-1 in the end for Navi. Mama's Boys finally get a core kill that they were looking for, but again, pretty heavily overextended.
The same story is happening now where Navi, they've gotten so much out of this. Seneko has a Glimmer Cape, which pretty much prevented the Witch Doctor from... I mean, the guy was just the Terminator. He was just popping his own heal at the same time. This does not bode well for Mama's Boy. If you're a casual observer and you're waiting for the analysis, it's... I mean, Raz almost got a Radiance. It's 26-8. He's even going to pop the ultimate right now for them to go for this bottom engagement. They're going to pick off Hook once again, and Pycat
he doesn't really have anywhere to go either. He's blocked in, tries to go for TP out, but they're right on top of him. 20 minutes in, it is 28-8 with over 10,000 gold lead for Navi. Same in experience.
They do get the Wisp, though. That is a positive sign. No, I'm serious.
Do get the Wisp.
It's got to be... You've got to work with something at this point.
You do need a little glimmer of hope, and unfortunately, the gold exchange between killing a Wisp in exchange for a Weaver and Invoker actually works out okay for Mama's Boys.
Yeah. Any engagement at this point. Imagine if they killed the Spec. That'd be such a hefty amount of money.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he now has the fully completed Radiance, so even if he gets picked off right here, it's not the worst thing. The ideal time to pick off the Spectre, if he goes for this build, is in between that area where, you know, he's trying to go for the Radiance, he doesn't quite have it yet. You get a pick off on him, it slows down the timing by another 2 or 3 minutes. That's just sort of the danger of going for this item, but his team's been firmly in control. He hasn't lost control of the jungle at all.
Oh, if they could get this pick off, this would be very big, actually.
Oh, that's a gem, too.
Yeah, he has the gem. General, this is everything Mama's Boys have. They're going to throw it all in order to kill General and claim that gem. And that'll leave Pycat able to sleep a bit better at night.
Huh. I'm surprised that he decided to play on that side, just because...
Yeah. I think he was searching for Roshan wards.
I guess, but he knew that his team wasn't going to be able to quite back him up.
Yeah.
The Spectre Haunt wasn't quite up either.
Maybe not respecting the Spirit Breaker and such enough. Dijira prepared to show himself once Mama's Boys actually show up in that bottom lane somewhere, but he knows they're all missing for now. He does show himself in lane now, but it's too late. Mama's Boys are already here.
Oh, this is a godlike
smoke
spree.
up Seneko. He's going to try and save him, but won't be there in time. They've taken out the Spectre. Artstyle going to town, though, is going to be able to take out at least one until a kick puts him in his tracks. Will be able to push down 2. General's going to be the next target as well. Tries to force staff himself away, but the last couple right clicks get there in time. Dendi is going to start going for Hook, though. The Invoker is going to be controlled up, and they get another one out of that. Pycat Oh, he's going to be hit by a couple of these Wisp Balls, and Dendy's so goddamn fast, he might be able to get, yep, the Eula Scepter, follow up the nuke. Pycat left with no HP whatsoever. They only need one of the Wisp Balls to hit, and they give the gem back over to Na'Vi. They got the big godlike spree out of the Spectre, but they did lose so many of their heroes in return.
Did they really, though? They gained it in both major statistical categories.
Yeah?
They got more XP, they got more gold out of that.
It just would have been amazing if Pycat had lived.
Yeah.
You know, if he had gotten out and kept that gem, whew.
I'm really okay with that.
Yeah.
The gem loss was the biggest thing by far, but
Seneko, he's going to be picked off still. Stun silence.
they've got dust
They
too.
actually popped the Spectre ultimate for this one. They're going to try and go for Yapzor. The boulder is going to be blocked out, but still, though, Masakari is able to get Ditch Your Raw, push him back away, but the burn damage is too much to handle. They try and kick him out. That's not going to happen. Dendy's going to show himself with that Invis. Again, this guy just keeps on grabbing Invis runes all day long. Zoxa futilely trying to go for a TP out, but will not be able to make it.
Yeah, everybody from Mama's Boys here, and it just seems like they've thrown farming out of the window. Like, we're going to engage nonstop. Hopefully we get 1 or 2 successful pickoffs with Hook.
The casket, that's going to be a dangerous one, too. It bounces over to the neutrals. Matsukari is going to be the first to go down. Hook has now been silenced up as well, and General's going to put the old sticky icky on him until he's eventually run down by the rest of his teammates. Godlike spree. Well, they took one away from the Spectre, but now Dendy has adopted a godlike spree of his own.
I guess you could go for the old Hansel and Gretel strat. You know, just fatten up. Heroes like Spectre take his godlike spree.
Uh-huh.
And Dendy is still susceptible to dying. I think it's still really possible that they pick up his own godlike spree, but this Weaver just needs to deal a little bit more damage. I mean, now that the IO has both Arcane Boots and the mech completed after his Glimmer Cape, you're going to need to have more of your cores carrying around detection as well. But I think this kind of warrants Pycat having to pick up a dust of his own, because he has to get on top of that Wisp. You just haven't seen Seneko really pressured in any of these fights, really.
Yeah. Pycat thinks for a second he's going to be able to farm bottom lane. Dendy shows himself, and that all becomes completely for naught. Dendy does have a completed Octarine core. And it looks like they're thinking about maybe doing some sort of sandwich lane. Pycat, oh no. Is he going to be caught here? The Wisp Balls, they'll find him soon. General's hoping to be able to catch up. They found Pycat. They're going to try and run him down. The casket is going to be blocked out by the Lincolns, though. Has another Shikuchi. Hey, he's making space. General finally latches onto him, though. Gets the lasso. And they'll be able to claim that kill. Unfortunately, Mama's Boy's not going to get too much in return. Hook is desperately trying to push in the middle lane. Trying to use that space for something.
There was almost nothing that was going to save him there.
Yeah.
This is just kind of a rough Weaver game. It's a little bit surprising that they decided to last pick it, just because I'm trying to think to myself, if he goes to the BKB, then the Bat Rider still is really successful against him. So is the Spirit Siphon, because it cuts through BKB and deals pure damage. And they've got the Witch Doctor ulti too.
You can't click it on BKB targets, though, right?
No, I'm pretty sure you can just do it whatever you want.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Spirit Siphon is pretty funny, man. It's the best way to put it. It's an entertaining spell to watch. Because I've seen it work on the Lifestealer Ancient Creeps.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, it was...
Well, Roshan's going to be the next target for Na'Vi.
Dendy's even going to pop the ultimate for it. They feel confident.
And with the Octarine core, not going to be punished too heavily for that cooldown.
No, and Dityara has almost a heart completed too.
No.
Mama's Boy has to know that the Roshan is happening, but what are they even going to do? That kind of knowledge does not help them at this phase of the game.
Yeah, if he actually completes that heart, I could see them like 5 versus 1, the Spectre. And if they actually just put all their damage into him, I think that Mama's Boy still died, just purely off of dispersion. Dendy is going to be caught with his Exorcism down, and Mama's Boy's in a great position here to be able to pick up one. Eula Scepter buys him a little bit of time. Seneko's here as well. Here comes the heals. Dendy is the big target. They're trying desperately to bring him down. A good stun. Finally takes him out. Seneko, 4 more seconds in order to relocate back out, but doesn't make it in time. Still, though, the Cascade going into play here will be able to almost bring down Masakari. It's not quite enough. Dichira's actually been pushed into Masakari. Might be able to chase him down, but Mama's Boys, they're actually in a great position. Even Masakari goes down to this tier 2 tower, which he almost does, but the dagger, it'll claim eventually. Oh, back over to that middle lane, actually. They got the Invoker
General
as well
still
with
has...
Pycat is still trying to fight this one out. Why didn't they just full out retreat?
General still has the lasso too. Like he's been saving it the entire time for Pycat.
Oh, man, I thought everyone was just on full retreat. The moment I watched Masakura, I thought everyone from Mama's Boys was going to back out, call it a day, say, hey, we got the godlike spree, that's good enough.
It felt like they were saying to themselves, okay, now that Dendi's down, we can probably take this fight, but you can't. Like, you're just not in a position to, not against a Radiance Aegis of the Immortal Spectre. They had to pop so much just to kill the DP the first time that there was never really going to be a follow-up to that. You're put into a weird situation, though, where you kind of have to go for that because you have the numbers advantage, and Dota logic just dictates that if you're this far behind and you take a 4v5 fight, that's the best that you're going to get.
Right.
It's not like you're going to go for some kind of crazy split push, right? You've got a Batrider that has a 4-staff and a gem, so he can pop the Lincolns by himself and go.
And you know you're not going to have much more time to farm either.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm kind of okay with that move. It's just the nature of how far behind that they are.
Sox hoping to be able to get some aggressive vision. He may end up being sandwiched, though.
Good luck, my friend.
It's okay. Wait, General? Oh, just because I was like, is he leaving that ward? No. He's not leaving the ward. He was just hoping to be able to catch the support who placed the ward.
Yeah, they clicked on it and saw that it was fresh.
Yeah.
It's a really good thing to do, or get into a good habit of. Soxa, though, they see him. He's going to just get...
Yeah, he throws down the silence, but unfortunately doesn't really get a hold of these heroes, and he will end up getting picked off, I think, before the big Na'Vi push. That's going to come through the bottom lane. Might as well. They've got Exorcism up, Lasso, all their ultimates are ready to go. They still have that Aegis.
And
Nice,
the big
and
ticket items just finished on Dendi, too. He's got the BKB. I wanted to point out, by the way, the reason why Mama's Boy decides to go for that fight when they smoked up was because they completed all their items.
Yeah.
Like, Hook just finished Ags. The Spirit Breaker picked up his BKB. You're not really going to get better farming opportunities, especially for the Spirit Breaker. So you sort of have to take that fight. It's like his peak performance area, even if it's not very strong.
Tornado EMP, but I think Mama's Boys are pretty smart here in deciding not to fight. Unfortunately, Dendi, his Exorcism is lasting long enough that he can start tearing apart this second Tier 3 tower in the middle lane before the Mama's Boys are actually able to fight yet. They've waited this long. They're going to try and charge in now. Dendi is going to be the target. The Exorcism does heal him back up. Meanwhile, General tries to go in. Ra is right on top of Yapsor. Will be able to get that one. Meanwhile, the Cask actually hits Pycat. He bounces back with his ultimate. Hooks on the front lines up against Dendi, but he's not going to make it out. Invis will not protect him, and Pycat, being the last man left alive, isn't going to stay alive for long unless he stays inside that fountain, as GG is called. Game number 1, Na'Vi looking very good, showing us why they are bringing nothing but wins so far in DotaPit.
That was a really impressive performance. I just think that you can't really give a player like Seneko a hero like Wisp. He was able to accomplish way too much on the map. His rotations into the top lane gave General a really nice injection of gold early game, and they were almost always able to consistently trade as a result, and he was a demon on the field. He kept up the heals on art style consistently. He made it hard for the support combo from Mama's Boy to do anything, really.
All right, guys, we're going to take a short little break here, but we'll be back with game number 2, which is also going to be our last game of the night between Na'Vi and Mama's Boys.